Now, as you know, there are no such things as impossible. That is how the Wright Flyer took to the air. That is how Mount Everest was climbed. That is how a man walked on a moon. And that is how I too did the impossible. Of Auraxiumed N.E.S.T. Yes, that is right. I Auraxiumed N.E.S.T. And now you might wonder, how is that even possible? Not so long ago, I was literally going below 0.1 KD. Well, first thing I did, I played Mag Rider for a few weeks. That way, I know how to actually use an afterburner. Next, I got back on Javelin and died until I ended up with the optimum strategy. So what I used to do was to equip combat chases and run circles around the enemy. The problem was that the reload speed of N.E.S.T is an intentional bug, literally longer than T9 carb. That is why I started running a speed chases instead. That way I can just run as far away from the enemy as possible. Maybe go eat lunch or something as you wait for the reload. Come back and then run for my life again. Maybe take a nap this time. And then repeat this process, because the reload speed is just that long. And thanks to this brand new strategy, my KD literally doubled to 0.2. But the most important thing about using N.E.S.T isn't actually any of those. It is to find an inner peace. Because this weapon is suck my nuts design, specifically engineered to make you want to punch a hole through a monitor. Most of the time it doesn't even matter what you do. You strafe right, you die. You strafe left, you die. There's a random rock in my way, so I died. I think I am outplaying the enemy by playing around the weapon's characteristic, but I just die. And sometimes I make a fatal mistake of going inside an enemy peripheral vision, so I die. Now at first, I was cursing at people who designed this weapon on every death. Like I wish I could make them go through a torture of using this weapon. But then I realized, I can't have emotions impeding my performance. That is why I started playing classical music on the background in order to create a stress-free environment, so I can do my best and channel all the focus and take out this powder quickly before all the hungry Mag Riders come to steal my hard-earned kills. Now any minute mistake will result in death. You basically have to play at the utmost capacity. Just carefully dodge the harasser gun and then execute parallel parking to outplay the enemy lock-on rockets. And then die to another one. And that is why it is important to have a golden ratio ready to out-tap to, so you can suppress your urge to break your keyboard. Some guy team killed you? Don't worry, I would have died anyway. I am keeping calm so I can actually run these stupidly slow missiles, dodge the enemy shot with pure bite, and put the enemy on fire. And now he has exactly 5.5 seconds to get out of burning vehicle, and I die. But when this happens to you, just congratulate yourself. You did it, champ. You actually got a single progress toward Auraxiumed. And that is how to embrace the positivity. Because it doesn't matter if an infantry you're trying to kill thinks you're just playing. It doesn't matter if it can't lock on properly against a small target. It doesn't matter if a harasser literally outruns the missile. It doesn't matter if literally all a tank has to do is to get out and out-repair your damage. It does not matter. Just use your flying move to maneuver into the back of the enemy, so you can do 2 finger flicks worth of damage. And when there is no terrain to hide, just use the cockroach maneuver, so you can dodge 2 extra shells before inevitably being one-shotted. And then just forget about everything, drive up at CQC distance and hope that this guy can't aim and misses all 10 shots. And that was how I did the impossible of Auraxiumed the N.E.S.T. By killing an unattended Sandy, unarmed ants, and blatantly kill-stealing. And now this is when I was going to end the video. But you know, in almost any videos that I trash on NSO weapons, there's usually that one guy who says, "No, this weapon is actually really good." And usually it never bothers me because there's always like 1% situation where that could be true. But not N.E.S.T. N.E.S.T being terrible is a hill that I am willing to die on. I literally died over 5,000 times if it wasn't for this industrial waste. That is why here is a preemptive Q&A before you can even think about N.E.S.T being any good. And no, it is not a skill issue. I mean, just look at my flawless battle roll and tank mine removal. Besides, if the weapon requires you to get in CQC and takes 4 to 5 volleys to kill a tank, there's only so much you can do. You could do like airborne decimator grenade trick, but you basically have to quit being a human to pull that off. The only skill with N.E.S.T, in my opinion, is turning back and running away as soon as you see an enemy. And now this is true at some extent. If you have a backseat heavy assault chucking AV grenade and decimator, you can actually have the firepower that the weapon is severely lacking. But I had to warn you that it will 100% ruin your friendship. Like, I wouldn't dare dragging someone with me into 200 deaths per hour adventure. It's just not a responsible thing to do. And also they steal your kills all the time. And about this, the reason I made this video is not as a guide, nor is it not for an amusement. It's a documentary, because I deeply feel wronged by whoever designed this weapon. The presence of this weapon is an atrocity by devs against anyone who just wants to try Javelin. That is why I wanted to bring the attention through this video.